Do you want to trade in your used fitness or sports equipment? How about sports apparel? All your answers are at Play It Again Sports in Grand Island, where you can trade in and trade up at Play It Again Sports.
Welcome to End Zone Online. I'm George Ayoub with the Grand Island Independent and theindependent.com. Got that out? Okay. Bobby Mills, the 1,000-yard guy, my partner in crime here every week.
That's right.
So we're going to talk a little bit about high school football and local teams, what they did over the weekend. We'll talk about some points, some big games coming up this weekend, and choose a player of the week. Our broadcast brought to you by Play It Again Sports. Islanders took care of business down in Lincoln last Thursday night.
That was very
beat
good.
North Star. That was probably the game that they needed to get past, because they have North Platte and Lincoln High left, and they'll be heavy favorites in both those games. Mm-hmm. So they're sitting pretty in the district.
They are. That looks like they might get a home game, maybe. So they took care of North Star with Austin Rose. So I'm liking this team better each week.
Right. Good ball game on both sides of the ball. 34-13 the final there. Islanders go to 8-1. A good North Star team goes to 4-3. As I said, the Islanders have North Platte this week, an 0-7 North Platte team that was beaten by Lincoln High, and so they're really struggling out there. So Grand Island would be a heavy favorite to go to 9-1 this weekend. I'm sorry, 7-1. A heavy favorite to go to 8-1. Grand Island Northwest open district play. They lost to Aurora 41-14 out at Viking Stadium. They are still in the frying pan, though. They have York this week.
I know.
A good 6-1 York team who dispatched Columbus 34-7. So another week, another district game, another tough game.
They'll have to win at least one of those last, one of these last two. Is it two?
Two. They'll have York and Columbus.
Yeah, they better win one, I think, right, to try to have a shot at the playoffs. And they're both tough games. Now, Columbus will give them some problems, but they're capable of beating that team.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago, how Class B's backloaded, at least this district. You play in their district games at the end of the season.
Yep.
Sometimes that's an advantage because you can improve, but sometimes it's a disadvantage if you have injuries to deal with and, those kinds of things. So the Vikings are really need to get a win against York. And that'd be an upset because the Dukes are at 6-1 and playing good football.
They're playing good football, yep.
Grand Island Central Catholic, our favorite team under the radar, 41-6 over Central, outmatched Central City team. They won last week. Crusaders now 5-1. They're going to play 5-1 Adams Central, a game that we will be broadcasting online Friday night from Memorial Stadium. That'll be a great game.
Should be.
Adams Central beat Minden 45-6 last Friday. So what do you look for in that ball game?
Buzz Niederklein to the left, Buzz Niederklein to the right, Buzz Niederklein up the middle, Buzz Niederklein for 250 yards. But I think they have a good shot, I think.
Oh, I do too. And the thing about Adams Central is, they have those good running backs, and they're going to bring it in, and they just kind of dare you to stop it. So I look for Coach Shoemaker to kind of load up the box, try to stop the run and see what happens after that.
And clean up the fumbles and things. That's really dogging them. If they concentrate and are really focused, they could give Adams Central a great football game.
That'll be a good ball game. And as I said, we'll be broadcasting that Friday night. And then Heartland Lutheran went to 0-6. They lost to Cedar Valley 59-24. And their schedule gets tough again. Fullerton, a 66-8 winner over Spalding Academy last Friday. Fullerton's one of the classier teams there in D2. So the Red Hornets, they're in trouble again this Friday, I think.
They can't think about score comparisons because Fullerton beat Cedar Valley 66-8. So we don't want to make those score comparisons or they'll be afraid.
Yeah, so again, their tough schedule continues to dog them. And it is a tough schedule. I looked at the top 10 in D2, and
I don't know who has any tougher schedule than they do.
Heartland Lutheran has played a lot of those teams. So that's kind of what we looked at for the past Thursday and Friday nights, and we'll be back right after this break and a word from Play It Again Sports. We're going to talk about PowerPoints and some big games coming up. For End Zone Online, George Ayoub with Bobby Mills.
Golf, baseball, softball, fitness, soccer, you name it, Play It Again Sports in Grand Island has got it. Stop by to buy, sell, or trade used fitness equipment. Trade in and trade up at Play It Again Sports.
We are back after the break. Bobby Mills, George Ayoub here with you. We're going to talk about some big games coming up this week. One we already talked about in the first part of the show, Grand Island Central Catholic, Adams Central. That will be in our backyard at Memorial Stadium. We'll live stream that. But a big game up in Albion, Boone Central Newman Grove hosts Columbus Lakeview.
That should be a big one. That's where I'll be at. See that new field, turf field up there.
What do you look for there?
Well, Lakeview's going to have to throw everything they have at him. It's just that Missouri kid is just something else. He's the orchestrator of whatever they do, you know. And Lakeview gave Norfolk Catholic a run too. So I'm looking for a great game. And if they let this one slip away from them, I hope they can maintain their poise for the playoffs, because it's not a loss will not hurt them. But I can't think of a better game to go to except maybe one down south here in Donovan.
All right. So that's the one Bobby's mentioning there, alluding to, is Donovan Trumbull and Hastings St. Cecilia are going to square off. Now, Donovan Trumbull just got a big win over Sutton.
They did.
But Hastings St. Cecilia has been coming on strong, and Carl Tesmer has him where he usually has him this time of year, you know, ready to play football every night.
And they play defense, and Donovan Trumbull's defense is getting better and better, but they're not quite where they want to be. So this will tell the tale, I think, even more than the Sutton game for Donovan Trumbull.
34-30, so you know that they're going to give up some points.
Yeah, they are. They are.
And so big ball games and ball games that will affect what's going to happen with the playoffs. And of course, you know, the PowerPoints are out, and we're starting to look at that a little bit. The Islanders are 4th in PowerPoints, but you know, with their remaining schedule, this is the highest they're going to get. It's
right.
42.58 or something, because wins will only get them 40, so they're going to drop back. Just guessing, I think they could end up 6th.
Okay.
That's the worst they could end up, because there's a little drop off. Right now, Prep is 6th. So the Islanders will host
which is
first
great.
round game, which is great. And as you said last week, it's possible they could host the first 2 games.
They could.
Which would be big.
We hope those cards fall that way.
Cards fall that way. Aurora's 3rd in the PowerPoints. They're going to be playing York.
That's another one I'm going to be at in 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks, and so there's a chance for points for both York and Aurora and Columbus. So Aurora's in good shape there. I think they're in good shape.
Sure.
Boone Central Newman Grove's 3rd, Adams Central's 11th, GICC 16th right now would make the cut. If we had the 16 teams, that's all in C1. Pretty good places for everybody.
I think so. I think everybody's placed pretty well right now. You know, just keep on winning. Mm-hmm. So who's first in C1? I don't even remember who's first in the power.
Luther. I think it was Norfolk Luther.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Boone Central was 3rd, huh?
Yeah, they were 3rd.
That's great.
They dropped. Yeah.
Wow.
You keep winning and you drop, which is the odd thing about this. Donovan Trumbull 3rd, Hastings St. Cecilia 6th, Sutton 9th.
So they're all in good shape.
They're all in good shape. And our D2 friends, Shelton's 5th, Giltner's 9th, which is weird.
That is weird.
Because you drop back. So, you know, in Stu's column this morning, I thought it was interesting. He was talking about, you know, a team that's 3-6, like Millard North, could still lose.
I know.
Well, right now they're 3-4. If they lost both games, they play West Side and North, who are 1 and 2 in points. They could still make the playoffs, depending on what other people do. I think it's really, you know, it's kind of fun to follow this, but it really is odd because, for example, the Islanders are going to win out, but they will drop back in points regardless of the score of the next 2 games.
And that's got to bother you a little bit. But if you look at Millard North's schedule, the way the PowerPoints work, you can't get any more brutal than that. Closing with the West Side and North.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, who are 1 and 2 and undefeated in Class A. So.
Yeah. And nobody's going to want to play Millard North in the first round, I can tell you that.
No, they won't. So we'll take a look at PowerPoints as the weeks go on here. We'll be able to see who's going to match up with whom and you know, in our crystal balls, which will be definitely wrong by the time everything comes out. So Player of the Week, who do you have this week, Bobby?
Jordan Slough from Donovan Trumbull. He could have been Player of the Week many other times, but he really came through big against Sutton, had a lot of big runs. He had 209 yards and 22 carries, but he's a dangerous punt returner. He's a good man on defense. Just one of the most exciting backs you'll ever see.
Right, and he did it in a big game.
Oh yeah,
and you know he came to the fore. So
the only time I've ever seen this kid stopped is one playoff game against Sutton last year. Otherwise, he's good for a couple.
He redeemed himself. So Jordan Slough, our Player of the Week, will get a framed certificate out to Jordan at Donovan Trumbull, and I think I made that trip to give him one last year too.
Oh boy, he's well deserving. So exciting.
So that's going to do it for us on End Zone Online. For Bobby Mills, I'm George Ayoub. Elisa Rates, our producer-director behind the camera. Thank you, Elisa. We'll see you next week on Endzone Online from theindependent.com.
Golf, baseball, softball, fitness, soccer, you name it, Platigan Sports in Grand Island has got it. Stop by to buy, sell, or trade used fitness equipment. Trade in and trade up at Platigan Sports.